Shalom, my little friends. Okay, the other day we didn't finish reading this, and I know why now, because it goes right along with what Yahushua Jesus has had me read these past few videos. Praise Yahushua Jesus. It must be stressed that the living resurrection has historically been performed in secret chambers and ancient sacred sites. Science now knows that such ancient temples are found at the intersection of the Earth's electromagnetic pathways. This concentrated energy is known to stimulate areas of the brain that lead to altered states, such a spiritual technology is a prerequisite for inducing the voluntary near-death experience that sends the candidate on a shamanic out-of-body journey. It was the key ingredient in living resurrection ceremonies, and virtually every site won by the Templars was an ancient sacred site, typically dedicated to Isis or her regional doppelganger. As a Templar knight, King Alfred Henriquez would have been privy to the Templars' spiritual teachings and the attainment of this inner transformation. The Grail, and it merited awarding the order 1/3 of his land to establish a kingdom within a kingdom. On the king's charter lies the unusual cross symbol with an anagram Portugal. In Portuguese it reads, "Through you, the Grail, Afonso," is alluding that the Grail is to be found in this territory, specifically the town of Tomar, particularly when one considers the name is also a metaphor. In Portuguese it means to drink, to imbibe, and in esoteric circles, an initiate of the mysteries must drink the knowledge if it is to be internalized. Oh, I'm so sorry. The successful candidates would complete the final initiation by undertaking a voluntary near-death experience to be awoken by an adept in the morning and lifted from a figurative grave. At this moment they were declared risen. This initiation is still performed today by the Templars' progeny, the Scottish Rite Freemasons. The Templars left clues that the crypt under the enigmatic rotunda of Tomar was used for such a purpose. If you trace a line through the rotunda to the Templar Church of John the Baptist, the line passes through the two pillars with the pagan symbols of the dragon and the green man, symbols of rejuvenation, and ends 2,000 miles away in the Church of Notre Dame du Mount Sion in Jerusalem. If you then take that church plus the other two prime Templar sites, the Holy Sepulchre and Solomon's Stables, where they reside, this perfect triangle is bisected, and the imaginary line ends in Egypt, specifically in the underground chamber called the Osirion, where the oldest resurrection ritual of Osiris was once celebrated. We are presented here with the intriguing possibility that the Templars placed the Grail in Tomar, and these centuries, while we focus on their exploits in Jerusalem and France, and to some degree in Britain, like the smokescreen myth of 9 knights protecting a pilgrim trail, the stories have distracted our gaze away from the main accomplishments taking place in this remote country. They created before the order itself was made official. It is indeed an incredible coincidence that just as there are no coincidences, none, that just as the Templars are erecting their mysterious rotunda in Tomar, the Grail writer Cretinide, I'm sorry if I said this wrong, Troyes begins writing his famous opus. In the story, the Grail rests on a salver, a ceremonious silver tray. One has to wonder then why the Templars called this round building a corolla, because it literally translates as a salver, a most unusual name for a religious building that stands at the crossroads of two electromagnetic lines and never had an altar or a door. And the Templars, it seems, gave us the answer on a silver tray. And here we are with silver again. Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's go back here. My dogs praise Jesus. We love butter. Hopefully he'll be good for me for a minute and let me find what it was here with the silver. I probably already passed it. That's alright. Very interesting though. Here we are with silver again. And in the silver iodide is made, it has silver in it. And then you have these, all these little machines, these cell phones and computers and televisions and refrigerators and microwaves. They all have outlinings of silver and gold in them, but silver. And it's interesting, all the older movies, they've got ones dressed up in silver suits, and it's just, it's just interesting, but rests on a salver, a ceremonial silver tray. In the story, the Grail rests on a salver, a ceremonial silver tray. Silver. Yes. One has to wonder then why the Templars called it a round building. Round building. Well, in the Hindu religion, the room is round, but the false god or the high priest or whatever sits, the shaman, and even in the Templars buildings, in this room that they're speaking about, the one that's allowed to go in, that knows the ceremony, that knows what to do, they go in and they sit in a circular room. It's a room that's a circle, but they sit inside a square. And then, as we see in the story of Tanit in the last video that we did, speaking of Tanit, in her symbol, the last two videos actually, and the symbol that she used, it had to do with a triangle, and then we have the circle and we have the square. And there's that dream that Yahushua Jesus showed me, where I was standing in the middle I was in the belly of the serpent, and all these television screens, hundreds and hundreds of miles up, you couldn't even see the end of it. Television screens or screens, and every screen had a different face in it. And I could pull that screen down, and look eye to eye, because I was standing in the middle of this circle. In the middle of this circle that was inside of a, wait a minute. I was standing in the middle of a circle that was inside of a triangle that was inside of a square. And that's what this is. Everything of Tanit's symbol had circles, squares, and triangles in it. Here we are with the Templars, circular rooms, a round building with they all, with their pictures and their engravements and stuff. They're rich, important people will be standing on squares, and then you have your triangle, which represents the male and the female parts. That is above, so below. Just all working. just praise you, Jesus. I just thank him so much for putting this stuff together. I mean, I don't do this. He does this. Praise you, Jesus. I just get so excited. We're learning. We learn so much together. You know what I mean? All right. Let's see. That was the end of that. Knights Templar Order of Christ. They actually had an Order of Christ. This was after the king, the king of Rome, the Pope of Rome was trying to kill them. They took off to Spain, and they started the Order of Christ. So this is their order. And Tomar was the headquarters of the Knights Templar Order in Portugal. The Covenant of Christ. Oh, let's see. Alright. That's it on that, y'all. Okay, I just wanted to show y'all that. The connection of the Knights Templar. Oh, I'm doing all kinds of too much stuff here. Praise you, Jesus. Thank you so much for listening.